Now it's time to print our styrofoam plates. We're going to set up our area with paper towels. We're going to get our ink ready. The inks have been sitting for a while, so they're going to need shaken up. Squirt out just a little bit of ink at a time, about twice as much as you need on your toothbrush. Keep your area clean. If you get any pieces of ink that come off the lid, get that all cleaned off. Be careful how you arrange your area. Keep your ink plate and your styrofoam to one side while you're inking, so that when you're ready to make the print, you have a clean spot to use. You're going to take your roller and you roll up to the ink, and you get just a little bit on at a time. And then you spread this out. You want this roller to go around in one direction, so it's a push and lift, push and lift, push and lift. You can go across, but it's still a push and lift, push and lift, push and lift. That's not enough ink yet, so I'm going to tap a little tiny bit more again. And then it's a push and lift, push and lift, push and lift. You'll see a nice even layer of ink on this, and hopefully if your roller's not in too bad of shape, you'll see a nice even amount of ink on your roller. Then you're going to roll across your plate, and you can see how just the very beginning got enough ink. So I'm going to ink up again, and this time I'm going to come from the top down. Add more ink as you need to. And the idea is to get an even coating of ink on this whole thing. I speeded up this section of the video. It does take just a little bit to get enough ink on your plate because you are pushing the roller just in that one direction, and you can only swipe across once before you re-ink. So it just takes a little bit of time, so be patient. And now you can tell that it's an even layer of ink on the whole plate. If you think there's a spot that you can get as much, you can add one more layer. If you don't roll this out each time, you're going to get you're going to fill in your lines, and you don't want to fill in your lines. So you don't want to get too much ink. Move it to a clean location. Take your piece of paper, lay it on top, nice and level, and then you're going to rub. Not pounding, it's rubbing. Nope, not quite enough ink. I'll see if I can try that again. So see how you can see it, but I've got these areas that are not as well covered. So I'm going to work on this again and see if I can get a good print. That one's much better. So I've run out of ink, of the blue ink in here. So I'm going to change colors. And so I want you to avoid washing your stuff up until the end of class because it gets all wet and hard to print. So pick a color that will blend well. So this time I'm going to do a little bit of white because that'll blend into that blue and it won't be a big deal. The neat thing is you end up with your first print might have both colors in it, which is kind of nice. On day 2, you're going to switch either from cool to warm colors or from warm to cool colors, and you're going to print all over again. And again, if you have to change colors, you just do a color that'll blend well and ink right over top. At the end, you should have 6 to 8 different prints. If we need to, we can print for 3 days to get that many prints. At the end of the day of printing, you're going to need to clean your roller off and your print. Get your water just a little bit. And this should roll off, this should clean off real quickly. And then you can set it aside to dry. This should also clean off pretty quickly. Keep the water on very lightly. This ink stains your clothes and you don't want to splash yourself. This, however, I wouldn't rub very much. I would just kind of lightly rub it. You don't want it to crack or bend. So kind of get it brushed off really good. And if you're printing off into the next day, the same day, this has to be really dry before you can go on to the next part. And you just want to do everything real gently. If you have most of it off, you're okay. The ink does stain. Keep your prints. Our next step is layering.